Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to This Is Real with yours truly, Pastor Juan Martinez, aka Dr. Love.
And I'm Stephanie Martinez Ray. Welcome back, everyone. We're so glad that you're here.
Wow, let me tell you something. I love, because I have this big thing about, I'm always telling people, like, stop shouting Happy New Year if you're not gonna do something. Yeah. Like, you might as well make it easy for us, yell Happy Same Year. Yeah. And at least we acknowledge you in the room. We're like, he said Happy Same Year, so let him be this year. Like, I don't have to spend so much energy. Yeah, like I don't have to spend so much energy in you because I know you just want to stay the same.
Yeah.
Don't stop.
My expectations will remain the same for you.
Yes, yes, and it makes it just easier for the for all the rest of us. They're like, remember he said Happy Same Year. Like, okay, leave him alone. But if you say Happy New Year, come on, expect something man.
Different.
Like 15 cent raise, like change something, right? And so I'm excited because that gets me super excited. I love the fact of breaking free from the incarcerated mind. And when I'm looking at this, read the title of this thing.
All right, so The Power to Change, a playbook for change and personal transformation by...
Come on.
You want to introduce a little bit who we have here with us today?
Let me see. This guy, the list.
He about to make me sound a little bit doper than I really am.
Hey, listen. The dope part is that even here, he's just Dave. And he, right before he puts who and what he's done, He starts it off. Let me show you this. Let me see if I can show you. I don't know. I have to stop this for a second. Now, this is for my YouTube audience. My radio audience. Obviously, you can't see it, but it says just Dave. Just Dave. Yeah. See, he's just Dave. He's just Dave. Man. But let me tell you what's
a little bit about Dave.
In Dave. You know what I'm saying? Because tell me who you are, right? He's a father of 5. Yeah. So you already know. Praise the Lord. He's successful. And then author. He's a DJ, radio host. Man, this guy has worked with some incredible influencers. He's launched a business. He's 36 years old. He's launched a business, first $1 million business. This guy, hold on, we need to ask for an offering. Now I'm joking. Hey, whenever we see million, we're like, okay. We're like, so man, none other than Dave Settle.
What's up,
going on, man?
What's up, y'all? Thank y'all so much for having me, man. It's such a pleasure.
I'm excited because we were talking prior, like we have some mutual friends. Yep. We kind of do things, and then we started talking yesterday on the phone. And we're like, man, have we met today? We're like, have we met? And
it feels like we have, man. It feels like somewhere, some way.
Eric Thomas circle. That's where I'm really thinking. But if not, I really don't know when. But I'm glad we're here today.
Yeah, for sure, so man. Definitely. And shout out to ET too, man. Eric Thomas is prolific.
The hip hop preacher.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on. Hey, man, that dude. Let me tell you something. You can have like a rough day. And like all you gotta do is watch a little snippet, and he's like, "Come on," like before you know it, you awake and you want to go running. There's no excuses for ET.
No, absolutely not. That energy is contagious, bro.
It's definitely. And it doesn't matter. Even sitting in a small setting, I told y'all we sat in a small setting with him years ago, and just the way he is, right? He's always on. He's always on. He ain't ever like off. He's always like, brother,
Yeah. He's one of the rare humans on the planet that is exactly who he says he is. Like, what you see on TV is what you get in real life. The stories are real. The humility is real. The power is real. It's this wonderful dichotomy of power, passion, and humility.
That's
all
beautiful.
Wrapped into one. So
I love it. But I want to know. Okay. So. You're doing all these things, but that's not how it always was, right? So tell me a little bit about just Dave. Who was Dave pre this Dave? Because you changed.
Absolutely.
You changed. So
changed a lot. I've changed a lot.
Hey, listen. Hey, I see change all over you. I know I threw that joke earlier, but nah, go ahead.
No, I'll say this: the Just Dave thing is very intentional. I got this revelation from the Lord. It was like, especially when I was starting a new radio show, it was like, hey, what's the name gonna be and all this stuff. And for so many years of my life, I spent like trying to obtain titles, trying to obtain status, trying to obtain influence, and you know what I'm saying? Like we see it online all the time. It's like pastor, doctor, bishop.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just did pastor, doctor.
And I got to the
But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and I got to a point to where it was just like, man, like I'm just Dave.
Yeah.
Like, because chasing those titles had me, it was like chasing my tail. And like at the end of the day, I realized that I am enough without the titles, without the occupations. I'm not like what I do. I am like loved by God, and that's
Yeah.
enough.
Right.
That's enough.
Right.
So just Dave, just a regular dude from the SWAT, man.
Totally, totally. But for me, it was is this. I feel like yes, but I feel like titles like I'm really glad you're a father.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Because if we remove that title,
Yeah.
then you'd just be Dave to them, and that would not be good.
Nah, they're
But
not
even
calling
though
me Dave. They
even
better
though-
not call me Dave.
See, so
My daughter tries it every now and then. She tries it every now
I
and
feel
then.
like the revelation of knowing that with Christ, but then also,
Yeah.
you know, I think we just
Not
we
finding your identity in it.
in
you
it,
know, in
yes,
the
and I think
desire
sometimes
to be
people
that title.
just abuse those things. So
Yeah.
we're like, yo,
Exactly.
let's do away with it. No, let's do it right. Because let me tell you, let me give you kudos on the father side.
Yeah.
Because when I called Dave and I was like, yo, can we do next week? And he was like, nah, you know, can we try to get it in tomorrow? And then he proceeds to explain to me a father done
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Right?
Wow.
And so he says to me, he goes, and I catch this stuff, you know, because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, he goes, nah, next week, like my kids are not in school. And then he's like, you know, so I would like to do it today. So I go, so what you're telling me is you want to be present in your kid's life
Yeah,
next
yeah.
week. And he's like, yeah, that's exactly it. So big kudos to
Man.
Father Dave. Hey,
There you go, Father Dave.
Hey.
All right. Now I can take up the offering.
Yeah, you got the little thing. Super dope, super dope, super dope. So go ahead, continue. So how was your life like growing up and stuff? Like, were you like boom, thinking about change, thinking about being a father? Thinking
What?
about,
No, man. I grew up in A-Leaf, you know, the southwest side of Houston, Texas. I was thinking about trying to make as much money as I possibly could.
so you were in the game.
I was thinking about all the young ladies.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, you know, making sure I didn't have to wear the same pair of shoes twice, you know.
Yeah.
Your
Your dad's Dr. Ricky Bradshaw, though. So I mean, were you raised like in a home where you had a pastor as a dad?
Absolutely not. So that is my father-in-law.
Okay,
But we dropped the
father-in-law.
in-law a long time ago.
Okay.
Dope. He is actually the guy who introduced me to Jesus, right?
Nice.
So
Really?
At that time in Houston, my teenage years, I was, you know, wilding out, selling drugs, just involved in a lot of like questionable activity. Again, chasing the fast dollar. You know, along the way, I was introduced to, you know, Dr. Bradshaw, my father-in-law, and he started telling me about Jesus, right?
That's dope.
And then that's when I was just like, hey man, this money stuff, this game. I witnessed like all my friends either get locked up or murdered, and I was just like, man, I'm headed down the same pathway if I don't make a change. And so yeah, he introduced me to the gospel, man, and you know, one thing led to another. Ended up going to college and marrying his daughter, and you know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
so yeah.
So your whole life changes.
Oh, for sure, man.
And
for
so
sure.
what caused you to, you know, what got you here? Like, what got you to like...
What needed to change, basically, other than you
Yeah.
know the activities you were in? But what
Yeah.
did you really find, you know, that Christ kind of renewed and made you say, you know what, I need to start sharing this to the world and making sure other people start to change? Because now you know you do got it all branded.
I mean, read right here. Read
Yeah.
right here. What was
So
that
they say change is one of the hardest things in the universe to accomplish. Addictions, habits, laziness, procrastination, anger, personality traits, or just the idea of changing one's mind seems elusive and almost impossible. But what if there was a guide to change, a playbook or manual on how to truly transform your situation? What if change wasn't as out of reach as most claim it to be? That's what the Power to Change is designed to be, a step-by-step strategy on how to change regardless of the circumstance or the situation. This playbook will equip you with the power to change. So obviously we all know that there is change, but I like what you're saying is that there you need the power to change, because people may chase it, but kind of like what Pastor Ron was talking about, you know, they'll say, you know, Happy New Year, but keep talking about like, oh, next year's gonna be the year for me, but then it ain't really about the power to change because they don't pick it up. So it's kind of like, you know, what did that look like for you?
For me, it's a day by day thing. And it's funny, I didn't grow up in the church. I'm the product of two alcoholics. I grew up in AA meetings, like you know, like some folks grew up in church, right? And so in those environments, they say,
come on, Dave, we gotta go, so you gotta come with us.
It's each and every day, right?
Every
you know,
day.
when you come from that type of household and upbringing, you learn that when people with addictions, alcohol, whatever, drugs, they take it 24 hours at a time.
Yeah.
It's not like Happy New Year. It's Happy New Day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For some of us in the beginning, it was like Happy New Minute.
You feel
like
me?
I was just trying to make it in the beginning, like minute by minute. I was like, yo, I don't even know if I can make it an hour, and that's just the real.
And as a kid, I didn't get it, but as I got older and I started, having my own vices, I realized I was like, yo, like, yes, it is every single day. And sometimes we need change every single day. If you can just get through the 24 hours, boom, you get a brand new day. His mercies are new each and every day. So if I can just get through the day, that's a win.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I love that. I love that because that's kind of what we were talking about earlier.
Right.
Like in 2 Corinthians 4, it talks about to don't lose heart. So we should be renewed day by day.
Yes, man.
And that day by day, I hear the word consistency, and renewed. That actual word renew is like to develop to a higher stage.
Yeah.
So every day you should be developing. We call it maturity, but it all came from when you start looking at the Bible, you're like, man, this is just telling you to grow up.
That's it, man. That's it. When I was a child, I thought like a child. As I got older, I started to think more like a man. So and that's what it is. And so to go back to your original question about what type of change or what is it, it's just a growth. It's a shift. For me, it was a mindset shift. It was a change in the way I thought. Like you said, we are to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And so it starts there. And then you're able to take what how you're transforming your mind, and then it kind of infiltrates your habits. And then you'll start to notice the outward change. But it starts on the inside.
Yes. All day long, right? Because that's the thing. I think a lot of us, we focus a lot on the outward man.
Right.
Everything's about. I mean, just look at it. Like we're in probably. I don't remember it except for like back in the day. I forget that dude's name with the bandana, and he had the curly hair, and he did the workout thing.
Yeah.
I
forgot his name,
but it was like him and maybe
is that Richard Simmons?
Yeah, Richard Simmons. Come on, you're showing your age. And so let's get physical with like Olivia Newton-John, stuff like that. But right now, like there's so much focus on the body. Everybody you see is like body. And I don't think.
Hold on, I think that was a Meg Thee Stallion song.
Oh my God. Yeah, but it is, right? Like it doesn't matter how much. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that health is not important.
Sure.
But I think we focus so much on outward change. And like you can put 40, 50 G's. Like it doesn't matter. You can manipulate the body, you can nip and tuck, you can pull back. You're still gonna be 90. Like 90 still is coming, 80 still is coming. Like it ain't like you get to like rewind the age years, but it says that your inner man is what should be getting younger. And some of us are matching what our outer man looks on the inside, right? That's when you feel like, oh, life sucks. It should be alive.
Yeah.
And I think I love that your book focuses on things that are on the inside. Because that's the only time really something's gonna change. Even for you, like I know you're big on the whole single thing and living this life.
The
like
single thing.
It's
the thing.
Well, I mean, because I feel
like even that, there are so many perspectives on how people view even whenever you just say the word. You know what I mean? And so being single in the world, being single as a Christ follower, and then even cultures between each of those, it just kind of forms your perspective on it, unless you take the word and filter your single life through what the word says to do. So
no, totally. So
that's a single thing.
Single thing. Yeah, because you had the shifted perspective even in you, right? Because sometimes we're like, I remember, I guess, your conversation where you're like, yo, like I'm gonna take a break from dating because what did I do wrong in those relationships? And nobody stops to think that. Everybody's like, let me just get in the next one. So there's all these things
like
that we have to change.
Refocus, like what did I do right? What did I do wrong? Hopefully there was some self-evaluation. It gives you a chance to really reflect. And I think we should do that in everything, whether it's our careers, our relationships, as a parent, as a business owner. I mean, we do it a lot in business.
Totally.
We sit down with accountants and lawyers, and we kind of like go over our budgets and balance sheets. Especially our marketing campaigns to determine where our money is going, and is this working? If not, let's shift some dollars over here. Why don't we ever just do that with ourselves?
As a person.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, this action is reaping this result.
Well,
shoot, let me change this action up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like you have face to face, seeking God's face. I'm just going through.
Oh man, that part right there. Okay, so look, listen, man. All right. A lot of times we go after His hands, right? We go after what He can do for us.
Right.
We go after the blessings. But in the Word it says, seek His face. Seek His face, like that one-on-one time. Like my kids do it all the time. Like I'm telling you, I learned so much about God from my kids because as a father, I'm like, dang, my daughter will come to me all the time and she'll call me and I'll be like, oh Lord, what she want now? You know what I'm saying? Because I know she's about to ask me for something, whether it's some money, and it's not all the time. Like, you know, I
we
love
totally get what you're saying.
Right?
Listen, give him a shout out. Give your baby a shout out.
Look,
give me all your kids
listen,
a shout
I love
out.
Kendall, Dylan, Devin, Kyron, and Carter, right?
Come on.
But the best
Don't forget the wife.
times-
Don't forget the wife.
Yeah, absolutely. So their mom, Dale Ann Bradshaw,
Okay,
who's an influence
nice.
in her own right. But I love it when my kids come to me and they just want to chill. When they just want to sit next to me and watch a movie. When they just want to like jump in my lap and be like, "Hey, Dad, how was your day?"
Okay.
You know, that type of stuff is what really warms my heart, and I believe God is the same way.
Yeah.
You know, when we always coming to Him with our hands out, like, gimme, 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 and God is like, nah, I just want you to come hang out with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, when the last time you woke up early, you know, before the rest of the kids or before the sun came up and really just sat and rested in His presence?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And stop talking so much. You know how we are when we pray and actually listened.
Yeah, that would change the game.
My kids don't listen to me no more. No, I'm just playing.
You're good.
So tell us a little bit about even because I love what you said, how it's day by day. And so you gave your life to Christ at what age?
I believe I was like 17, 18.
Okay, so it's been a minute, right?
It's been a little
minute.
while.
All right,
you know,
so
a little while.
And sometimes, unfortunately, I believe that we take that change and then that's kind of where we stop. We choose to stop growing. But we know that as believers, there's so many things that we still have to work on. There's so many things that God has to, change and fix and tweak and mature in us. And so what are some of those things that you had to face, now walking in Christ?
Man, you're going to have to make me share all my tea, all my just throw all my dirty laundry out there, right? But
hey, the show
this is real.
All right. So, okay, cool. But I really feel what you're saying because I'm a big proponent of that, right? You get saved, that's great.
Right.
And for years, I would travel, do missions, and my story was my transformation story at how God had saved me.
Yes.
But then it wasn't necessarily, I noticed that I had other transformation stories after that. But I was always big on telling people, oh, I used to sell drugs and I was in the streets and God delivered me.
Yeah.
Not realizing that God was still delivering me from things like anger, from jealousy, from pornography.
Hey, you talking
You know
now.
what I'm saying? And so, but don't nobody want to talk about that stuff because they think when you get saved that you somehow perfect, right?
Yeah, no, yeah.
And then, so I had to go through a lot even after that, like even going through a divorce. My kid's mom and I, we were married for 14 years. And one of the hardest things for me was being in the church and having to go through a divorce. And it was something that we went through together. People think that when you go through a divorce, you hate each other.
Yeah.
But if you want to be real about it, we had to work through that thing. And that was probably the biggest thing for me as a believer. Was I felt like I was stained. I was, discarded.
The scarlet letter, right?
Yeah, like, the church is like, oh, God hates divorce. So I was like, man, they must hate me too. And I spiraled into a deep, deep, dark depression. Suicidal thoughts, the whole 9 yards. I wanted to give up my business because I'm in the wedding industry.
What happened when you were going through that?
Sorry.
No.
Did you do a conference for us?
We'll be right back, chat. And we're going to answer that question when we come back. This is real. We'll be right back. We are back.
Welcome back, y'all.
Man, okay, so there was a
We're
whole
still on the
lot
journey
of
of figuring out where we met.
we're like, did we meet you there? We figured out in the break, though, that we did not meet there.
No.
But maybe he's supposed to be the DJ for the next one. We're
Oh,
like,
for sure. Hands down. Like, come on, man. We can set that up right after this interview is over. Like,
he pulls out contracts and everything. We're like,
I have them ready. They're all automated. They're all
Sign
automated.
here.
Listen, I've made my life easy. I do so much. Everything has to be on automation. Like,
all right, so you're at that point where you want to give up, your business. You're going through a divorce. You have to struggle because you're doing all of this as a believer, right? Like, I like what you mentioned.
Which is totally different.
Yeah.
Because you could be going through all that in the world. You just go smoke a blunt, or you go drink, or you go have sex, and then everything seems fine for a moment, and then you wake up and
it just makes things worse, man.
Worse, and,
totally. I've tried that, but I also know my background too, coming from a household of 2 alcoholic parents. I have that addictive nature in me as well. So I tried my best to steer clear of that, right? Because it could just
spiral.
Yeah, it could spiral. But going through that, man, and being a wedding DJ, having a wedding business, that just made things 10 times worse. Because, like, think about it. I'm going through a divorce, and every weekend I'm out celebrating with couples, and I'm just like, they're like, oh, congratulations. And I'm just like, meanwhile, my life is like crumbling. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was during that period, because I had already written the book, getting ready to launch it. We had started doing some stuff, and then boom, I'm in the smack middle of this divorce and separation, and so I put everything on pause. I didn't put it on pause. I pretty much gave up. I was like, I wanted to quit. I wanted to just throw everything away, my business, the plans for the book, the whole nine. I even made a suicide attempt, and thank God that I'm still here. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Which is why we decided to donate a portion of the proceeds to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Wow. So one of the taglines is, this book saves lives, right? So I've become a very, very big advocate for suicide prevention.
Wow.
But during that period, I was, trying to pray and do everything that pastors and church people tell you to do, right? All the cliches. You know how it is. And
I'm like, no, I don't know.
I picked up my book.
Yeah.
I picked up the book I had already written. I picked it up, and it was in a manuscript form, right?
Right.
And I started to read it. And I didn't read it like an author or like I had read it so many times before, to edit it or to make tweaks and changes. I started to read it like a regular consumer, like a reader. Yeah. And I was searching for hope, searching for healing, and I found it. And I found it. And I was reading, and I was like, there's no way I wrote this. I was like, it was like God was talking directly to me. And it helped pull me out of that dark place.
Wow.
In a way that I was like, I still have a purpose on this earth.
Yeah.
That's why you put this book. I was like, okay, so it's saving lives, but it saved your life.
It did.
That's
and
dope.
honestly, if I don't sell another book, like, that in and of itself is enough for me.
Yeah, but just, as a disclaimer, my friend David Settle wants to sell some books,
please.
But but I understand what he's saying.
Right.
But I'm gonna help him out. Go get his book. Where do they find your book at?
Oh man, it's everywhere. Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can go to my IG at the David Settle. Click the link in the bio.
Boom, it's there.
It's there. Yeah,
it's there.
I mean, if you can't get it on Amazon, man, come on now.
I think the topic you're talking about is so important though. Like this book is not when this book dropped. When did it drop?
It dropped in September. I
mean, there's like a really big thing going on, right? You had the guy that just on the Generous show that kind of died and passed away, the boss, right? Like, committed suicide,
tragic.
And so and so what would you say to somebody that basically, but obviously the book helped you. Yeah. What would you say to somebody that's kind of having those thoughts?
Yeah, disclaimer, this book is not about suicide.
Right,
it's not about mental health.
Yeah.
I wrote this before I went through that, right?
Yeah.
But I would say, hold on. Hold on. There's a scripture that says, weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning.
Yeah.
Just as sure as the sun sets, right, it rises and falls, it will set again. It will come out again. So I would say, hold on.
Dope.
There are people that love you. There are resources out there. Talk to somebody. The suicide hotline is super easy. It's 988. No star, no pound, none of that. Just 988.
It's pretty dope.
It's like 911, but 988. That's all you gotta do. Call it. And even if you're not experiencing suicidal thoughts yourself, but you know somebody who might, I would encourage you to call 988 as well. For them.
That's dope.
But to get information about how you can help. Because a lot of times we don't know how to help.
You don't really know what to do.
That's really good advice. We're going to give them a hallelujah. I mean, I'm great. When I hear stuff like that, I'm like, man, that's really good because that's a tool.
Yeah, it is.
And sometimes people don't know what to do because they don't have a tool in their hand.
Yeah, man. And it's, I know you said this isn't about mental health and all of that, but it is what you're talking about, Pastor Juan, where it's like, it's so prevalent now. I mean, there's good and bad, right? Because the world, they'll call it, mental health, all these different things. And then Christians then feel like mental health is a taboo thing. But in the end, we ultimately know that, like, it's a spirit of a lot of things. And sometimes it's something as simple as, like, go to the doctor, go to a therapist, something like that, praise God that we are at least as a whole, at least a bit more matured as a society to where, you know, you can talk about those things like that. The guys in the ditch,
let's get them out. Like that's really the I feel like everybody's making everything so complicated because it doesn't fit in this box. You guys are wrong. And because it doesn't fit in this box, you guys are wrong. Hey, the guys in the ditch, can we get them out?
Yo, Jesus was very practical.
Right.
Very, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they were all like up in the sky, super theoretical and all these abstract constructs and philosophies. And Jesus was like, hey, y'all hungry? Here's some fish and 5 loaves. You know what I'm saying?
Because that theological thing actually translates with the fish and 5 loaves. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like, because he would have been cool with them if they did what they knew.
Yes,
you know, it's like they knew all this stuff, but they didn't really do it.
Know it.
Yeah. Like, let's talk about it, you know? Okay, we like doing some segments.
Come on.
So we talked about the book. We talked about who Dave is. And you know, I really appreciate all your transparency and all that. That's super dope. I love when you're vulnerable. That was dope because I feel like that opens up other people to be vulnerable. But we like to do some fun segments, which also are going to help some people out. So, Stephanie, take it away.
All right, so let's kick it off with Dear Younger Me, right? So we're going to do Back to the Future, put you in the DeLorean, take us back to a younger version of yourself. How old are you?
I am 36 years old.
36. Okay, so it could be 35, it could be 13. It doesn't matter. But take us back to the younger Dave. What were you like? What were you doing? And if you could literally just go back and speak to yourself, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
I would go back to high school.
Ooh, okay. What year?
Dang, man.
Hey, listen.
You're a freshman, you're a senior.
Yeah, let's go.
In between or what?
Where you
Let's
at?
go freshman year.
Freshman
year.
99-2000.
Hey,
what were you wearing? What were you Cash Money? Okay, yeah. Okay, got it. What were you wearing?
We were wearing like oversized Jabot jeans, white tees.
Yeah.
Go down to your
I think they're trying to bring that back, but go ahead.
Man, yeah.
What was Dave like as a freshman then?
I was trying to fit in. I was trying to fit in. You know, growing up being the only white guy in a predominantly, black and brown community, I was trying to find my way.
I'm like, you're white?
Yeah, I genuinely didn't know that you were white. I didn't know you were white
I thought you were Hispanic. Now I'm like, hey, we switching up on you.
Shout out to the Southwest. Yes. So growing up in that environment, I didn't know who I was. I was trying to, and of course my dad was in and out of jail, so I didn't have somebody to tell me who I should be or how to be a man. So I looked up to everybody, and I'm very grateful for my environment. It taught me a lot. I learned a lot from the drug dealers and the pimps and just my homies on that I grew up with. But I would encourage that kid to not try to fit in as much. You know what I'm saying? And play to your strengths. So I'll give you an example. I played basketball, and again, typical white kid. I wasn't very fast. I couldn't jump like my peers. And but I could shoot your lights out behind the 3-point line, right? Like, give me the rock. You better guard me from half court because I'm gonna fire it up. Y'all thought, man, listen.
Hey, listen.
But I played to my strengths.
Yeah.
I didn't do that in life. I tried to be like everybody else. I tried to dress like everybody else. And
wow.
I was not comfortable with who I was, and I made decisions, trying to fit in that cost me a lot. And now that's why I'm just like, hey, I'm just Dave.
That's really
I'm not the fly white guy or all these names and stuff that we used to joke around about growing up. I'm just Dave. I'm very, very comfortable in my skin and with who I am and who God has called me to be. So
that's dope.
Before we get into the next one, because you mentioned earlier that I don't know if it was on the radio or
you're putting them back in the DeLorean?
No.
Because I'm going to put them back in the DeLorean.
Before you go back, you mentioned, because I like what you said, to the freshmen, freshman you, but you mentioned you were a youth pastor, right? What year were you youth pastor?
My father-in-law, like, he put me in ministry like right out the gate.
Okay.
So the moment I got saved, he started discipling me.
So I mean, I feel like the issues, we know at the end of the day the issues are the same. The root of the issues is the same. But I do believe that young people are facing different things. So what would you tell a freshman now facing the things of trying to fit into today's society?
Yeah. Man, find out as much as possible. Find out as much as you can about yourself. Learn yourself. What you like, what you don't like. You may not know exactly what you want to do, like for the rest of your life. Like I know, like people are like, oh man, find your purpose and da 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 da. But really, really dig deep into who you are, not what other people say you are, because by doing that, your purpose will reveal itself. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know what they want to do when they go to college, but that's cool. Yeah, you're learning yourself. You're learning what you like, and sometimes you go to college thinking one thing, and then you're like, nah, it changes, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, because you learn. I feel like every season you learn what you need to learn for the following season. Yeah.
I would just say find out as much as you possibly can about yourself, because once you do that, I don't care if you go into business, if you go into athletics, if you enter a relationship, whatever. If you know more about yourself, it will affect every other area of your life.
That's good.
That's really good.
Put him back.
Okay, so the DeLorean came back with the white hair. He's like, he's back. I'm like, no. I'm putting him back in the car.
Come on.
So I'm gonna put you back in the car probably twice. This time,
I'm scared when people put me in the back of the car, man. Like I got flashbacks.
You can take shotgun. You good?
Look, we're like, hold this.
I know you know. Like,
no, totally. This time you're back in the car, but you're sitting in the front seat.
Cool. I'll take that.
Okay, so I want to take you back because you're 36 years old and you started a business and all that, and I see so many people that just struggling in life, but here you've overcome so many things. And there's probably some disciplines that you had to live by, is what I'm thinking, right? Yeah. So I want to put you back with what you know now as a business entrepreneur, back to a person who was maybe like, man, I don't know how to do life. Yeah. What would you say to that young person that's like, man, I think I'm an entrepreneur. I don't really know what that looks like. What would you say to that younger Dave when you were like not sure, but you were going to take this leap because you had to take a risk? What would you say?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, take the risk. Take the leap. Take the step. You know what I'm saying? Like I heard Dr. Tony Evans say one time, God cannot steer an immobile vessel. God is like the rudder of a ship. God isn't the one moving. He's the one steering you. But you got to be in motion for God to actually steer you in the right direction, right? So I would say take the step, right? That's how my first business started. I just started DJing weddings. Like I was a regular like club party DJ. I thought weddings were lame. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh boy, but the first time I got that first check, and it was like 4 times what I was getting paid at the clubs, I was like, man, forget this. Give me a tuxedo. I'm going out. Let's go.
Word.
And then I would say just learn as much as you can about your craft and get better. That's what made us so successful. I doubled down on weddings. Like I tell people all the time, I took a biblical approach to business. Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom of God and all its righteousness, and all them other things will be added unto you. Well, I did that in the DJ space. I stopped trying to DJ everything, and I sought first the kingdom of weddings. Right?
Oh, wow.
And all them other things, they just came. Like the little corporate gigs and conferences and birthday parties. Like I wasn't focused on all that. And my main source was weddings, right? So I became laser focused on one thing and took over that area and just learn about money. Learn about money, because I was good at making money. Because again, as a drug dealer, as a hustler, I knew how to make money. But the problem with that was I didn't know how to manage it. I didn't know how to save, invest, because money was coming easy, right? And I was used to money. I go blow money on shoes, cars, jewelry,
totally.
And I can go get some more. Well, in business, it don't work like that.
No.
I tell people all the time, I might have made a couple million, but I ain't got a couple million because I made some. I wasted it all. No, I mean now it's totally different.
It's okay. You were young. We're gonna attribute that to. It's okay. You're like, oh.
Back with the. No, I'm kidding.
But learn, become a student, learn how to learn.
Yeah.
Learn how to learn.
That's fire.
We're gonna go to break, and I got one more thing to ask you, and then we'll go to the next segment.
Let's do it.
Stick around.
We are back, and I get to put it back in the DeLorean one more time to ask one of my favorite questions.
Hit us.
I'm scared.
Let's settle. Hey, look.
Should I be nervous?
Hey, not for nothing.
Cool,
but let's settle this. No pun intended.
I should have been a lawyer, right?
Good name. Totally. Big time. You still can. It's gonna take you some time. You're like his first case. He's like almost 60. He's like, hey,
I can hear the radio commercial right now. Settle with settle.
Settle with settle. Okay. With what you know now, like obviously you have amazing kids, you had relationships, which you mentioned before. You gave them their props for being their moms and the good moms that they are. And here's the thing: when it comes to relationships, everything that you know now about it, because I just think there's so much hope. Sometimes we're like, oh, we're putting ourselves out there, but that's actually what helps other people, right?
For
So
sure.
I put you back in the DeLorean.
Okay, let's go.
And you talk to yourself at a time when you first started relationships. What would you say to yourself with what you know about relationships now to that younger version of yourself?
Man, it goes back to knowing yourself, bro. I really believe it goes back to that, knowing yourself. I think that you know, my kid's mom and I both would say that if we like,
but what would you say to you as a man?
as a man,
Yeah, like what would you say to
again,
right?
I'm telling this to myself every single day, so
Yes.
it's very easy for me to say. I'm trying to get to know myself each and every day. You know, my likes, my dislikes, my habits, the things that I do well, the things that I don't do so well, and I spend a lot of time on the things that I don't do well. You know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of people don't like to focus on that. They like to be celebrated for the things that they do well. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I got that. You know what I'm saying? But let me go back to the managing my money, putting everything on auto pay, my forgetful nature, my ability to like lose stuff, you know what I'm saying? And or my ability to say yes to everything and becoming overextended and exhausted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
So
like self-aware, you know?
yes,
Self-aware.
like I'm telling you, man, it goes back to that. Because once you master that, you can master anything. You master self. Come on now.
That's good. That's good. So
Because a lot of people let their self master them.
Yeah.
yeah, totally, all day long.
Oh man.
All right,
That's
so
dope.
we touched a little bit on it. I think at the beginning when you were sharing like your past and stuff like that. But the next section or segment is called "The Struggle Was Real." So everybody loves to say, you know, the struggle is real, but we want to see about change, you know, and transformation. So share with us something that you struggled with, and then how you overcame it. And it could be something a long time ago. It could be just recently within this year. But you know, we want to share with everyone what the struggle was. The struggle was real. What was it?
Man, you know, going through a divorce was tough. It was something that we did together,
Right.
which is the common misconception. Because you know, anytime you throw out the D word, people are like, "Oh man, y'all must hate each other," and that couldn't have been farther from the case. You know, we worked through that thing together. You know, even to this day, my kid's mom is my best friend. You know, and you know, we share, and it's not just because we share 5 kids together. She is a dope human being,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so we worked through that process together. We would go to marriage counselors, and we would tell them, we're like, hey, we're trying to separate and divorce, but we want to do it and save the relationship. But all the marriage counselors were like, well, you know, how can we save the marriage? It was like, wait a minute, hold up, that's not what we're here for. We're here to learn how we could separate, right? And they didn't get that. But that was a very, very challenging period because outside, everybody wanted to save the relationship or the marriage. Excuse me, everybody wanted to save the marriage, and we were more concerned about the relationship, the friendship, the parents, right, and the kids. And then of course, like, you know, growing up in the church, there was such a you know, a negative connotation that you know, lots of judgment, criticism, shame, you know, condemnation. And I'm just like, man, it was heavy. So, but working through that together, and that was hard too. But I'm very, very proud of the work that both of us put in and continue to put in to this day. So
That's dope. You know, because I get both. I almost get every side, right? I feel like, I don't know, I like to look at things 360 degrees, right? Because even you talking, I'm like, can we call her up and try to get this?
I know, right?
Like, because you know, I just like to see things.
Yeah.
For sure, and I get that.
You know,
I get that.
So I get the what I'm
you know,
saying is I get the people you went to. You know,
I mean, obviously, like you said, because you're a believer, so our I guess, you know, like you mentioned, our nature, the spirit that lives within us is let's restore, right? And then, you know, it just looks different.
But I understand. Now, I want to apologize for every church member and every pastor. I just do. I feel like that part sucks though. Like, to make you feel, like, you know, the way you were feeling, like really, like, dang, I suck.
Look, looking back, you know, everybody had great intentions. You know, like even yourself. You know, like it's just natural to, like you said, want to restore. But there comes a point to where, you know, even in our situation, that we knew that it was over, and so now it became more so, how do we restore us or the individual. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to keep it good.
Right. And that became the focus. Yeah. And you know, so I'm like I said, I'm very, very proud of the work that we put in.
That's really dope.
And God has been doing some pretty remarkable things.
Yeah. That's dope. I'm, you know, big shout out to yourself. Yeah, you know, it's good stuff.
That's kind of like what we were talking about. Why I was so passionate, or still am, you know, about single life, because again, the Christian, change it up. the Christian people around you, they mean well, right? Where they're like, when you gonna get married, and so you're gonna encounter that for, you know, however long that is, but it's true. But you're gonna have to extend the same grace, and I try to educate, you know, believers as much as possible, because it could be something as simple as, man, you're friends with somebody with the opposite sex, and they immediately want to, like, what the kids call now is ship you, right? To where they're like, oh, when y'all getting married, and then if you're married, when you getting kids, and they mean well, but if you're not in the right state of mind, you will easily become what other people say, and that's not knowing that you were the jacked up one and you got a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? So anyways, next segment, last one, and it's kind of fun. You can hit us with something crazy or simple. So the last one is, you think you know me, right? So you got some people, you know, you go around DJing, you know, writing books. A lot of people might know you, social media, all that kind of stuff, or even pastoring church, whatever the case is. So you think you know me, hit us with some kind of misconception that people have when they see, you know, just Dave, or that's, you know, Dave Settle. You think you know me, I'm like that. You think I'm like this, but really I'm like that. And it could be anything.
Man, that's a tough one. You think you know me.
And you got to start it off like this. And you think you know me.
And you think you know me. I really like the Spice Girls. Not playing.
Everybody's like, what?
Yeah. Come on, y'all know y'all be in the car. When it come on, y'all know y'all be in the car singing that jam. Nah, man.
Or even just, you know, you got tattoos. For one, we thought you were white. Or you weren't white. And,
well, there you go. You think you know me, but I'm really white. No.
I'm really... a big group of people are like, what?
Oh, nah, man. I'm really not as cool as people think I am. Like, I'm really down hard, like a really cheesy, nerdy dude. Like, and I'm not hiding behind the tattoos, but people see the tats and all this other stuff, the radio shows.
All of a sudden they think you're
at the end, I'm really like a nerd, like, and a lot of DJs are. I'm gonna be real with you. A lot of DJs are very technically.
All the DJs right now that are listening, they're like, really, bro?
If you talk to a DJ, right, and y'all start talking about music, they will bring up gear and engineering and science and all these different math concepts. Like, I learned about math as a DJ, like having to, because I grew up with vinyl. Right before all the digital stuff came out, I was carrying crates of records, and I learned how to, like, calculate the BPMs of my records, and then, you know, because I would sit there with a stopwatch for 60 seconds and count the beats, right? Yeah. And that's how we would calculate BPM. And then I was like, dang, I'm doing this for a whole minute. Why don't I just do it for 30 seconds and then, you know, multiply by 2? And, you know, like, it helped me go through all my records a lot quicker.
You're like, math.
You're like, I love math.
I taught algebra for 2 years, 7th grade, 8th grade algebra.
Dude, you're like, just Dave is
I love math,
more than just Dave.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's super dope, man. I like hearing stories like that. It's kind of funny because, you know, you don't think that, like, that's why I love talking to people and really kind of getting to know people, because I feel like sometimes you hear things and you're like, yeah, that's not right, but you have to really process, because sometimes that's just the opposite side of the spectrum. That kind of perspectives according to maybe upbringing or what you've learned thus far, or where you're even at. Right? So you can't like it's like everybody's at a certain place and you've learned this, and so you move to this. And, you know.
But I'll be real with you, like, being a nerd and so in love with math, it made me a really good drug dealer. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I'm not advocating and glamorizing that lifestyle, but it just is what it is. Like, I knew numbers, I knew weights and scales, and I knew how to convert different measurements.
I totally understand.
So school was easy for me. I got straight A's and I never studied. You know what I'm saying?
I did really good in math too, except for my last year when I started really tripping. It was more that I wasn't there than it was. That's what made the other years kind of, you know, because my last year I just wasn't there, so it's kind of hard to not be there and kind of. But the other years I kind of was there and not there, so I would just show up and kind of like take the test and pass it. And then I was like, oh, I could pass this, and then
that's
that
a gift.
But that was not good. That was not good. When I got later, so like I started going to like started dabbling in some college in my 40s.
Yeah, really?
Yes, dude. I told you I woke up at 36.
That's wild.
So then all of a sudden I'm in college with a bunch of young dudes, and I'm like, they're like 7 parts of a sentence, and I'm like, ooh.
Let's see.
Oh, so you know, it just, I really learned that sometimes we try to, even in life, you try to get through things.
Yeah.
Just to get through them. So you don't, but you don't really get transformed. You don't really grow because you're just getting through them. But when, you know.
Man, that's powerful, because I tell my daughter that all the time. My son too. They do their homework and they just try to get it done.
Yeah, totally.
Right? And I'll look at their homework and I'll be like, bro, I can't.
They got
read
you
this.
as a dad too, so you're
bro.
like, yeah.
So I'll look at my son's homework, for example, and I'll be like, okay, I see the answer over here, but how the heck did you get here?
Yes.
And as a math teacher, we don't care about the answers.
Yes.
Right? We care about the work.
Yes.
You know, because math is all about problem solving. That's all it
I
is.
suck at math, but I'm listening.
Look, listen,
Maybe
it's just
I'll
about
learn.
problem solving. That's all it is. That's all it is. But it's about learning. Like, studying is not about checking it off and saying, oh, I did it. Did you actually absorb the information? And I think with God wants us to study his word. He wants to have communion with us, not so that we can check it off and say, oh, I went to church. Oh, I read my Bible. Oh, I got my streaks on my Bible app. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's more so, did you actually absorb? I know, right?
I like
But what did you get? What did you get out of it?
What did you learn? How did you
because it's
apply
really
it?
about
How do you
knowing
practice
him.
Because
it?
when the test comes, you're not going to be able to say, oh, I studied this day, this day, this day, this day, this day.
Yeah.
No, they're going to ask you a question, and can you answer that question?
Yeah.
Can you solve the problem they give you?
Yes.
So-
yes.
Sorry.
No, that was.
I really like math, y'all. I really like math.
Hey, listen, where could they get the book? Where can they find you?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to my IG. That's, you know, I'm really heavy
You
on
have a
my
website?
IG.
What?
Yeah, thedavidsettle.org or .com. thedavidsettle.com. But go to IG. Go to IG.
Instagram.
What can they
David
look forward
Settle.
to seeing next year with David?
Yo, we are really going hard with the Still Save show. We have a podcast and we get to sit down with some really, really cool people. I'm very, very proud of that, because we get to share these transformation and these change stories. We really believe that we've overcome by the power of the blood and the word of our testimony.
Yeah.
And so we're just trying to share the word of our testimonies so that people can overcome.
That's super dope. Well, I'm super grateful.
You gonna come be on the show?
Yeah, I would love that.
All right, both of y'all.
Hey, that'd be dope. That'd be dope.
Lord.
So yeah, we'll see you there soon. But make sure you go get this book. Powerful. I'm about to jump in it myself, and thank you again so much for being with us. Let me tell you something. Go read Romans 12. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm just going to leave you at go read Romans 12 and see why it's important to renew your mind.
That's fire. Appreciate you, Dave. Thanks for coming on. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to This Is Real.
From This Is Real.
And I'm Stephanie Rave, and we're so glad you joined us. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so you get notified every single time we have a new episode.
And don't forget, in Houston, Texas, on 100.7 FM, every single Saturday night, we're on the airwaves from 6:30 to 7:30, man, with real people, real problems, real solutions. The show is rocking.
Amen.
But not only that, not only is the show rocking, we're also reaching 53 cities, 51 state and county jails and prisons. And what we're doing is we're bringing the word to them. We're bringing them some laughter and some good times and some fire.
Amen.
And so for that, we need some partners. So if you want to partner with us, please click on the link below.
And don't forget to follow us on social media, #ThisIsReal, or on any other platforms, Pastor Juan Martinez.
Hey, that's a wrap. Peace.